Well, hospital ports, pride and dignity, stop the New World Order, welcome to HPANWO TV. I've moved just a couple of hundred yards from my former location on Ashbourne Road and Ashbourne Avenue and Whitfield Road. I'm now here at King Harold Way, and it stretches all the way from there to there. It's a big long road. Now, almost simultaneously to the landing that took place at Ashbourne Avenue and Whitfield Road on that junction, another landing took place somewhere on this road. Now, the witness reports are not as precise as the last one. They relate that it landed somewhere on this road. It doesn't state exactly where, so it could be anywhere between basically where the King Harold Way ends there and where it begins up as far as you can see in that direction. So we're not quite as precise. But it's a pretty similar environment, urban road, urban landscape. There's no real main roads around here for a long way. It's very sort of like a residential kind of ghetto in a way, and that could be significant. We'll come to that in a minute. Right, the craft that landed here took up the entire width of the road, and as you can see, it's a wide road. There's another learner driver. There's one thing I've noticed about this area, incidentally, it's kind of like a driving school. I mean, maybe it's because there's lots of roads, but nice and quiet, loads of learner drivers everywhere. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, the object that landed here took up the entire width of the road. As you can see, it's a wide road. That's about 30 feet, I'd say. It's much wider than the other road we saw. Now, this object had several different witnesses. Several different witnesses come round to report it. It's slightly different to the old object. It's the first object. The first object was described as being dome-shaped. This was more sort of like sharp and angular. It's described as being black, black and metallic and shiny, but it had lights around it as well, and it's reported to have had windows. I mean, they use the word windows. 8 massive suckers that is around it, hovering above the road. Outer rim spinning slowly, white lights like a camera flash bulb. Windows of concave glass. Well, they could be windows. We don't know they are actually windows. But apart from that, it behaved very similarly to the other one, to the other craft. You know, and it sort of levitated into the air apparently afterwards, and it flew. It apparently, it hovered. And it rose into the air and flew in that direction over Bexleyheath Primary School, and the school is actually still there. It's over there. So we have those two very, very similar. It's a very, very similar event. I should point out this report was compiled by Linda Piper in 2002. There's a lecture by Timothy Good where he talks about this as well, and a very interesting case. Now, one thing that strikes me immediately is the similarity, in this case, to the Westall UFO in Australia in 1966. Now that happened almost 11 years later, but there are certain similarities, both in the objects witnessed, which behave and look quite similar, and also the location. And I think there's some links maybe to the event in Zimbabwe in 1996, which was again very, very similar. Firstly, I mean, we're in an area which is not that different to Westall, the Westall area in Australia, where near around Westall School. We have the school. In Australia it was the Westall School. In this case it's the Bexleyheath Primary School. We have this large residential area of straight streets, and also in that direction we have woodland. Now that actually was the case in Westall as well. You have we have Lean Abbey Woods and Borstal Heath in that direction. So you have, in a sense, in the case of Westall, that woodland and the waste grounds act as a kind of backdrop to this residential area where the craft landed, and the school was there, where the objects landed. And in this case, you have exactly the same thing. And I'd be interested to know the sort of geography of the school in Zimbabwe, which I forgot what it's called now, where a similar encounter took place. I think a big question you've got to ask yourself is, if something that unusual happens in a place like this where there's so many people around in a residential area, why were there not more? Why are so few people talking about it? And when we're talking about thousands, there must have been hundreds, thousands of witnesses. Why are so few people talking about it? Why is it not big news? Why is it not all over the papers? Why is it not in history books? Now this is it's an interesting subject. It's partly to do with the role of the government, which I've talked about many times. When these things occur, governments seem to dislike this sort of thing, and people seeing these kind of things. And secondly, there's an element of perhaps, you know, of psychology, human psychology, which whether engineered or natural, in which you if you see something that's so strange. Now, if you see, it's very, very easy to forget it. Now, this is a problem. If you want to make yourself more ignorant than you are, you very often succeed, and we're encouraged to do that. And this is the giggle factor, the wow factor, whatever you choose to call it. But something you see something with your own eyes, and other people see it too, and you know it's there, but it's just so bizarre. Isn't it easy just to think, well, it didn't happen, and to find some way of rationalising that to yourself? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the answer is, but I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that these kind of events do take place. I mean, from reading the witness reports, I'm pretty convinced that something quite spectacular did happen here on the 17th of July 1955. It'd be nice if they came back, really, wouldn't it? I mean, you keep watching the skies, you know. It'd be nice if they paid another visit all these years later. Come on, guys. I've been waiting 57 years for you. Come on, show your faces. Oh, I think that covers everything. Like I said, Timothy Good's lecture at the Secret Space Program conference talks about this, and there's an article. If you put in Bexleyheath UFO, you'll get a very interesting article. So, if you know anything about this, if you've seen any strange shiny objects coming down from the sky, landing in the middle of your road, do let me know, won't you? Because I'd be interested to hear. Well, thank you for watching HPANWO TV. Hospital porters, pride and dignity, stop the New World Order.